girls. Today, Mr. Riff and Maya. You have to drive from Bowling Green to here. Like, take you 15 minutes. So, do you introduce yourself first?
Sure. My name is John Rife, but I'm a junior high principal.
Yeah.
This is Maya. Maya is she'll be 5 next. She'll be 5 next month, and she's actually, we had her trained just about 4 years ago to be a therapy dog, which a therapy dog is different than a service animal. A service animal will do, turn off lights or help, disabled people detect, diabetes, detect certain things like that. She's just essentially an emotional support dog.
Yeah.
She comes to school, I would say every day, but there are times that she just doesn't want to get off the couch, so we don't force her to do anything that she doesn't want to do. So
really?
So there's usually one day a week that she just stays home. But most of the day she's there, and she hangs out in the office. I keep her off leash, and she just kind of travels through the school. Kids come to visit. We make classroom visits, we've done presentations, we've done assemblies and that kind of stuff. So she's not a support, or I guess she's not a service animal. She's not going to do any services or tricks and stuff like that. What she does is she's just essentially an emotional support dog who will de-escalate situations when we have students that are extremely high anxiety. They have needs that just they can't stay in the classroom for one reason or the other. And we have the kids come down and take care of her, take her walk, kind of hang out, talk to her, read to her, and just she kind of settles. So a lot of times she'll settle those kids right back down. As you can tell, she's very food driven. She loves her snacks, and which also shows on her hips that she's.
So can you show us like how do you start this idea? Like when you have a dog, do you think about you go to for the dog become therapy dog, or how the idea started?
All right. Well, we were my wife and I were getting rid of all of our kids. Right. That was kind of the point where we were getting rid of the kids. We had a dog that had passed, and it was one of those things that we weren't really looking for a pet. So then when we got her, we found out it was a friend of ours that were essentially the breeders. And with getting her, we had the intention of training her to be a therapy dog.
Okay. So it's the intention you get her.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And then is this special kind that you can train? Can be trained,
No.
or any dog can be trained?
Yeah, any dog can be trained. She had the personality that the breeders that we got her from, they socialized her before that. She was even 8 weeks old. She had been handled by 70 or 80 different people. They come in and just socialize the pets. So the whole litter were very, very well socialized, and I think just we still see some of the siblings, and they're very well mannered, love people.
And so when you got her, how old is she?
She was 8 weeks when we got her, and she'll be 5 next month.
Okay, so then start in what point you start to think, okay, now she's ready to be trained?
Well, I mean, our basic command training started almost immediately. Like the sit, the stay, those types of things started almost immediately. At 8 weeks, but the trainings, she was just shy of a year old before she started the actual therapy dog training. So there were that consisted of a couple classes. There were 2 classes that were 14 weeks. I think the classes. There were trainings in between. There were visits to nursing homes. There were visits to.
So the part of training, they will take her. Are you the one take her, or the trainer take her?
No, we did. So
you had to be trained too.
Right.
Okay.
So ultimately, what happens is that she's certified through the Alliance of Therapy Dogs, and really, in order for her to be a therapy dog, we have, my wife and I had to go through the training as well. So it's one of those things that she's really not supposed to do any work without one of us there. So the handler, if you will.
Okay. So then during that training, do you have any point you feel like, so frustrated? She didn't listen.
Yeah, there are certain things that she struggled with a little bit. Yeah. And part of it is that there was a stay. She always wanted to be around us or the other dogs, so that it was the stay command. And what we had to do is we had to put her in a stay position, and then walk away. This is what she struggled with a little bit at first. Is that she wanted to follow, but
she finally followed. That's one of the things that she struggled with a little bit at first because she wanted to follow along. Yeah. So your goal is for her to not follow. Right. So she can be independent. Well, yes, and essentially follow direction. Yeah. Okay. We do visual commands and verbal commands. So it really didn't matter to what we used as long as we were consistent. So the stay was here. And the verbal command free, and then the sit. And she does things, she'll shake, she'll do stuff like that, but nothing really major. That. Hey, she sees us next. Hey. We have a lot of in our district. We have a lot of the junior and high schools attached, so we have a lot of student teachers. We have a lot of method students that come in. Yeah. And one of the things that we I usually let her off lead when we're having a little conversation, and she'll start going around, just checking everybody out. Yeah. She'll stop and smell somebody or whatever else, and I always high school principal myself, we always have a little fun with the students and just say that that hey, she's a drug sniffing dog, and I'm not sure why she's hanging out by your locker, your book bag, but and the kids, you see their face. But how do you, when you are planning to bring her to school? Do you need to get a special permission from your superintendent? Yeah. So actually, so with the I guess the increased anxiety and mental health issues that kind of we've been trending, I guess, seeing is that our school nurse is the one that actually proposed this whole plan. We had to submit it to a plan to the school board. Superintendent had to approve it, the school board had to vote on it, and then ultimately they accepted. Yeah. Even though my superintendent's not a dog person, he does not like dogs at all. Yeah. He saw the benefit of having the dog in the school. Yeah. Do you need to buy the special insurance or something for this? She actually is covered on our personal insurance, and then the Alliance of Therapy Dog with that membership, there is a secondary insurance, but it comes on our insurance first. Our personal insurance first. Yeah. So. But with her personality, she's never showed any aggression whatsoever towards any student, she's got one teacher that she barks at on a daily basis. Only reason I guess she was fine with this teacher until that teacher's dog got sprayed with by a skunk. Yeah. And I don't know if that association, she will not let it up. Yeah. So this teacher, that's been 3 years ago. Yeah. 2.5 years ago, and she still struggles with that. Yeah. So how's the first day school for her looks like? First day? First day when you brought her to your school. Start to work with you. Yeah. I'm sure. Now I'm trying to think back because it's been 3.5 years, whatever, that she's been there. She's very much likes to be around people. She's not gonna curl up to you, sit on your lap, lay on you like that. She likes to be around people. Yeah. Not necessarily on people or with them like that. So she gets. I know she gets excited in the mornings. Yeah. I'm getting ready to go. Yeah. So first day, I guess it's probably fairly typical of every morning. Yeah. That she gets kind of when she's ready to go, she's ready to go. She knows the routine. She goes out and jumps in the back of the car. Yeah. We get to school and I don't have a leash on her. She knows exactly the routine. She jumps out of the car, she runs to the front door and goes right into the office. So, And then if you have to go somewhere but cannot take her, what she do?
She'll stay in my office. She'll
Okay.
stay in the office area. So my office, and then I have my school counselor's office right next door, and then just that general office area. She'll stay in there.
Yeah.
I don't know. She actually sits by the window and waits for me to come back. There might be a little separation anxiety.
Yeah.
Our office is like all glass.
Yeah.
Looking at, so she'll sit in the chair backwards, staring off the glass for me to come back, somebody to come pay attention to her. This was dismissal time in the office, so she sits in the chair, looks out the window and watches all the kids.
Okay.
At dismissal.
Okay. You can see she's follow him.
Yeah. She does all the things. The kids absolutely, it's kind of hard to see, but we have pajama day. Stuff like that, just for Spirit Day.
She do the same way?
Yeah, the kids love to see her in, situations like that. There's, the funny thing is now is that the kids, a lot of the kids, I'm in the hall quite a bit. I'm interacting with the students, and the kids now will they'll walk by or whatever, and they just say, hi Maya, hi Maya, hi Maya. Don't even acknowledge me anymore. So,
so can you demonstrate? We have students. Can you demonstrate how you take her to help go with students?
If we're going to,
So you guys are students there in the middle school.
And typically what happens is what they'll send, the teachers will send the student to the office, or there's times that, that if she has to go somewhere, or she wants to, if somebody's having an issue or whatever.
Pretend, is anybody you are so stressful, you really need dog? You raise your hand, then therapy dog go to you. Anybody you want to talk to? Okay. There.
Absolutely. That's the biggest question I always get is, can I pet her? I'm like, well, that's what she's here for, right? That's what she's here for, is to be petted and those kind of things. And like I said, she loves the attention, and she likes to be, around people, but not necessarily curl up and cuddle up and those kind of things. So
okay, we have Jordan need help. Oh.
Oh, see, there's the.
She's very comfortable in the classroom setting.
Yeah, this is not foreign to her. She loves. Again, she'll come in. There's times that some of the teachers have her conditioned. That they have snacks in their desk drawer. So she'll walk in. We'll be walking down the hall, and I don't have her on lead. And also I'll turn around and she's gone. And she'll poke into a classroom and have her nose right at the drawer where the snacks are. So they'll do that. And
she knows which classroom have a snack in where.
Yeah. There's times that our central office is attached to our Our central office is attached to our building, and the central office secretary, she has snacks. She has snacks every day, and when we start walking towards that end of the building, she knows exactly where to go. So if we're not going there, I have to call her back because she's right where she wants to go to get her treats. So she's a Labradoodle. So that's the other thing is the Labradoodle is a breed that's as hypoallergenic as you can get. So typically, if kids, I do have kids that come in and say that I'm allergic to dogs, and totally fine with her.
So this the horse.
Totally fine with her. Everything's bred with the poodles now, right? It's a Labradoodle and Golden Doodles, Aussie Doodles, and all that kind of stuff. So she's actually a Labradoodle. Her parents were both Labradoodles. I want to say the breeders, they did 2 litters and that was it. They've only done 2 litters. They're not, massive like our own dogs out there all the time. They're both science teachers. try to spend money on probably high quality treats and high quality and low calories because again it's constant training. When the opportunity arises that just like this, she would sit, she would shake, she would do those things. We entice her and try to make it just like today I want 300 best behavior. Sometimes she's a little stubborn, but she does a really nice job when we have treats. So we spend a fair share. Like I said, it's just more about quality than quantity and more lower calories.
Okay.
So my high school principal, this time of year the FFA does the fruit sale and all this kind of stuff, and he gets like these beef sticks, and he gets them and she follows him anywhere because he takes a whole beef stick and just throws it at her, and she just gobbles it down and like stop. In school, I don't necessarily have to spend a whole lot on treats because there's so many teachers that have them now.
Free food there, right?
I have one student, actually a couple students that come in on a daily basis that part of the students' routine, they're in a partial self-contained classroom where they're high special needs students that she will come down and feed and water Maya every morning, change the water out. I always have food in the bowl, and then at the end of the day, I put it back in the bowl, and she actually, that's kind of her routine that helps her, the student focus every day, and she looks forward to that, and that's kind of a privilege that she gets.
Yeah.
She was a little bit of trouble a couple weeks ago, so her teacher suspended that from her for a week, so she hasn't done that in a week, and I hear about it, so. And this was another tough one. No, leave it. Another tough one for her to master is because she totally wants that treat, right? I mean, but she is pretty well behaved and okay, treat, get it.
Oh.
And you can leave it there for a long time.
Yeah. So she wait until you say okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep. That was a tough one because again, she's food driven. She likes her food. She likes her snacks.
Yeah.
And
But only whatever you say she listen. How about the other people can do that too?
Yeah, she's pretty good. Actually, she's really good at pretty much, again, if you have food in your hand, whatever, she'll do it. For the most part.
Oh. She just knew in this classroom she already know how to find Emily.
That's one of the things that was just a fun little, I guess, home trick to do that.
Yeah.
She knows who everybody is, and
so she went to Emily just to get snack.
Yeah, that's right.
She want to make sure you are still there available for her, huh?
And we'll do that. We'll do that at home.
Yeah.
Have my wife will go, hide upstairs in the bedroom or whatever, and go find. She'll go find her, and she'll come back to find another snack. So.
Anybody like to ask question? Like you never question.
Yeah. Yeah, so we started the basic commands essentially like as soon as we got 8 weeks, like the sit and the stay and those kind of things we started working on immediately. And that was actually the first class that we took for the therapy dog was essentially the basic commands, because they want to make sure that they can listen and do those kind of things. So she kind of had a leg up and a head start on some of the other dogs that were in the training.
Yeah.
That she really had a pretty good grasp of that. Some of the ones that, like I said, the one leaving the food and having her stay. Those were the ones we had to fine tune a little bit, but the sit and the stay she was pretty good. Hand signals that we've incorporated just so that she knows. So
did she have kind of like been like a homesick, like you take her away from your home and then do the traveling?
Yeah, so That's the thing with this dog. This dog essentially goes everywhere with us.
Okay.
We take her weekends. We have a little place on the river, and we have a boat, and so she's like literally with us on the boat. She loves to be on the boat. She loves to be in the water.
Yeah.
We've taken her vacations with us. So she doesn't get away from us too often, I guess.
So she know the routine. She know what day she have to go to school with you, and what day she doesn't need to go.
It's once we start, once we start getting up and getting ready, and she knows that she was a little nervous on the way here. I don't want to say nervous because
who is this place?
It's a 7-minute drive to work. And it's an hour here. So she started.
Like,
15
why
minutes
take
in,
so
she's
long?
like, what's going on?
What's going on? How about if the day like you really have to go to work, but you cannot take her? That's
So she's typically fine. Usually by the time it's usually like a Wednesday or a Thursday that I don't take her to school. Because that's just the day that she's exhausted. I mean, I think she's mentally and physically exhausted from being in school. All those days. So Mondays and Fridays we almost always take her.
okay.
But in the middle of time, when she's tired, she's tired. So
Okay. You can tell she's
Yeah,
tired.
you can tell that she's not ready to work.
Okay.
And one of the things in the trainings they said is don't make her do anything she doesn't want to do. So if you're visiting in a nursing home or whatever you're doing, and she doesn't want to enter that room, don't make her go in.
Okay.
There's something triggering her that she doesn't want to go in.
Yeah. So what do you do if, for example, if she come here today, she don't want to come in here? What do you do?
Then we probably would have circled back out and tried again. And obviously this is a one time, right? I mean, and so we wanted to make sure that she was, but she actually she started seeing people walking in the hallways, and she was all about about coming in. So.
Yeah. So do you think that because her personality suitable for this kind of job? Not all the dogs suitable, right?
Yes, I think her personality is very conducive to what she's doing. She loves to be around people, and she's well behaved and not aggressive whatsoever. And so she went to, with our district we sent 2 dogs, and actually the other dog was the primary dog, and we went training with her as kind of a backup or a secondary. That dog made it through training just fine, and when it got to coming to school and the kids, that dog was more anxious than the kids. So he doesn't make it to school at all anymore.
So this one get the job, not that one.
By default she got the job. So I've got she could sit in the middle of 25 kindergartners, which I've had. I think somebody's here. Hey.
You hear somebody?
Yeah.
Okay. He want to ask questions.
Yes, sir. Anything I want her to learn? I'd like for her to learn not to bargain. So one of the situations where she found her voice, we live in a residential neighborhood, and she was probably maybe a year old, and we caught kids throwing snowballs at her over the fence, and I think it just kind of spooked her. So now everybody that she sees go by the fence, it's like ridiculous barking. But I think she just associates that negative experience, and we've tried all kinds of different things to eliminate or curb that barking, and it's not working. So that's one of the things I'm sure it can be done. It's just it's a lot of work for her, and now she's 5, almost 5, and she's trained. But the thing is, she would never attack him. I mean, she could be barking at you in the back of the fence, she could reach over better, and she just start wagging her tail. It's just that thing that she associates. So she gets her first snowballs at her, or if that was kind of a coincidental time is when she found her voice. So.
If she need a like continue education? Do you guys need to continue education for the license?
We have to recertify every year, and it's essentially just making sure that we have to log visits and those kind of things. There's no additional training this year requires, but I mean every day is training, right? I mean it's just continuous with what we're doing.
Yeah.
Before she gets treats or snacks, we have to make sure that she sits.
Make sure she did the things she's supposed to.
She shakes or she does something to earn it.
No question there, Kelly?
Yes. No, actually, we have a cat. We fell into the pandemic cat trap. So during the pandemic, we ended up getting a cat, and they have this love-hate relationship, the cat and the dog. The cat's, 4 or 5 pounds, just a little cat, and she could, I'm sure with one, chomp, take the cat, out, but we'll come home, we come to the garage and have a little utility room, and they have a little gate there where, so she is home, she doesn't get to the cat food, she will get it. And almost every day we come home, the cat meets us, and so I open the gate and she just stands there like frozen, like, okay, I'll move the cat.
Oh, really?
So she can get through.
Oh.
15 minutes later, she's chasing the cat, but the cat really doesn't, Max really doesn't, he'll just turn around and all of a sudden she'll stop, and sometimes the cat just waits around the corner when she's walking down the hall, and then you'll just see a paw stick out, start swiping at her. But so we don't have another dog, but she loves other dogs, and she loves little dogs, like the neighbor has a little French bulldog, and when he's over, she'll just lay like right on the ground and he'll be nipping her ears and jumping all over, and she's loving it.
Question.
Yes.
If you get another dog that will have to be there yourself?
I could probably see doing that, especially, as closer we get to retirement. We still, my wife and I still want to have a purpose, you know what I mean? And this is one of the things that we still want to do, something. I don't know, it does curb some of the times of travel and stuff like that when we want to go, and we take her most places, but if we're flying somewhere, obviously she's not sitting underneath the seat of an airplane where you can take with you, so, I don't know. We love what she's done, and we probably consider if we did get another dog, we'd probably consider that for sure. The pandemic's kind of hit us hard with where we can't take. My father was actually in a nursing home the last couple years of his life, and we really couldn't even get her there once the pandemic hit because they weren't, taking visitors, and hospitals aren't taking visitors. So it was one of those things that we had her trained to do, and we were planning on doing it, and it couldn't do it because of that. So.
Looks like I have one question there.
Yes. Pardon me? No. No. I would be homeless if I got rid of this dog. My wife would throw me out in a heartbeat. This dog is as much as she's focused on like me and even Emily some today. I go home, this dog doesn't know who I am. It's totally about my wife. She is just. If my wife goes upstairs, the dog goes upstairs. She comes downstairs, she comes downstairs. So she's definitely her my wife's dog.
Is Emily jealous?
Yes.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. That dog doesn't like me.
Yeah.
It's at home. The dog doesn't like me either. So.
Yeah. Like one question.
Unless you go upstairs, yes. So we were in, probably not as much her as it did. My student, we were in school all year. The only time that we were out was the March when the pandemic first hit and everybody was out that March. So last year we were in school every day. So I still took her. Okay, some of the kids were, especially early on, were kind of like, hey, can we pet? Can we not pet because of transmission and stuff like that? But she still came. There's still some kids that take they'll take her for a walk. Some of the big things that the kids like to do is take her. And I've got one kid now that has he gets anxious in large social settings. So our cafeteria, we'll have 300 students in there at a time, and job to get it out. We're in a small district, so it's a little bit different. I mean, I give the keys all the time, but I'll give him the keys, and then he'll take her out. He'll come back and report. She went pee. She went to the bathroom, and so he was. That's just kind of been his release is that he gets out of that large social setting, gets to take her, and then he reports that she went to the restroom or whatever else. So just things like that I think help keep him that anxiety level down. When it starts to get elevated, we had a student that was a special needs student that was actually was on our cheerleading team, and they cheer practice was an hour after school let out, hour and 15 minutes after school let out. So the cheerleaders would all meet in the classroom, and this girl, I was in my office and with Maya, and one of the cheerleaders came down and said, hey, this girl's underneath the desk. So there was a desk where we set up the pod, and she was underneath the desk and crying and not coming out. And so I said, all right, I'll go down. Took Maya, went down there, and before I got to say anything, Maya was literally nose to nose with her underneath the desk, flopped down, and she just kind of were petting her, and it just kind of brought her back into the setting that she was supposed to be in. So unintended, she's not been trained to identify anybody that's anxious or anything like that. I don't know if it's just an innate ability that the dogs know that something's going on or not feeling right, and she literally went right underneath those desks, which she doesn't do, was nose to nose with this girl, and just kind of like are you okay, are you and she flopped down just like she did right there, and that girl just started petting her, and then next thing you know, she came out.
She's powerful.
Well, yeah, I think in certain situations she's definitely kept some kids in school. We've had some kids with anxiety that have attendance issues and stuff like that, and we'll write into their IEPs or 504s, or even just kind of like, hey, if they need 5 minutes, let them come down. They'll come down, whatever it is, seeing the dog, petting the dog, taking it for a short walk. We'll just kind of settle them back in so they can get back to class. So.
She's part of your employee in school.
Yeah, she is.
Do you pay her?
Yeah. I know like I said, my superintendent is not a dog person at all. He does not like dogs, does not have a dog, doesn't, but he approved her to be there because he knew the
See
impact
how
that they
powerful.
would have. So.
Yeah. Emily, want to share a little bit about your experience with dog?
Sure.
What's your experience?
Well, my thing is when I first heard that our dog was gonna be a therapy dog, I immediately thought she's gonna be super cuddly, super affectionate, and it's really frustrating that she's not sometimes, because she just I don't know, I just like when dogs are like that, but she's like that with my stepmom, so it's just kind of frustrating that she doesn't snuggle with me, but she still does her job very well. And one time she actually came to my high school a couple years ago, and when it was just me, she was very affectionate towards me, when she was helping out other students, in the library, and I just went to go check on her and take her for a walk. She immediately hopped up and ran right to me, even though she was laying down how she was a minute ago, looked like she's asleep. But she helps all kinds of people. She's helped people from my school, people from his school. It's just kind of cool to see the impact.
No, she's here.
That's just helping us.
They had a couple student deaths at her high school, and we have a counselor that serves our county schools, and the counselor was over there at their school, so technically she shouldn't have been able to have Maya there, but she took Maya there, and I was getting updates all day as that there's 6 kids sitting with her, there's 8 kids, and all those kind of situations where she was just sitting around and.
It's a picture of her high school.
Oh, and here. Okay, so that is she with your classmate. Okay. Wow. So how long you expect she can continue to do this job?
I don't know. We're gonna. I've got 9 years to work, and I don't think she's gonna make it 9 years. But if she can do another, 4 or 5 years, I think that she's probably earned her retirement as well.
Yeah.
Because there's times that she's almost 5. Like I said, next month she'll be 5, and then she's slowing down a little bit from what she was, but know, she still enjoys going to school, and she enjoys going to the students, and so as long as she does that, we're going to try to keep her in the game. So. Well, she actually. I'm a 6 through 8 principal, but we're attached to the 7 to 12, or I'm sorry, we're a 6 to 12 building really, but she's in my office, but she helps the majority of our kids, some high school kids, and actually the elementary is just across the parking lot, so there's 800 kids back there, so we have about 1,500 students total that she'll come in contact with. Not very often in the elementary school, a couple, 2-3 times a quarter maybe. But through the junior high and high school, everybody knows her. And again, she'll do this right in the middle of the hallway during class change. She'll just come out in the middle of the hall and plop down. I mean, it's probably no wider than what this space is right here. She'll lay right down, and the kids just understand what they mean. They'll just go. I mean, it's just like parting the sea. They walk around her. You know, they'll scratch her on the head just that she walks by, or they walk by, and you know, she's pretty relaxed.
Yeah.
So. Yes.
Is her training, like, I know it's simple, like, is it really as simple as repetitive this and then rewarding at the end?
It really is. I mean, ultimately, so the first training that we went through were basic commands, right? To sit, to stay, all those kind of things to make sure that she's going to be able to do those things. And the second training, I guess I probably should have elaborated on that one. That one was more interaction with people. So they bring in, they'd have students or whatever, or other people in the class come in with walkers, you know, just to walk and bump into her and those kind of things, and see how she's going to react. So some of that was just how she was going to react to those things. Balloons, right? Balloons that you'd be amazed at how many dogs are just spooked because of balloons. You know, if they move it because it's something that's odd, that's floating in, you know, kind of in the midair. Wheelchairs. They had, you know, walking in and just bumping into Maya, because there's certain situations in hospitals and those kind of things that, you know, things like that happen. The part of the training was that, you know, big dogs like this never to get on the bed, right? You don't, you know, some smaller dogs and stuff like that, lap dogs, that if there's a patient that they can, you know, that you can put on their lap, whatever. This one, you know, they get to a certain size and they don't want you jumping on their bed, right? So those things like that, but it was more of getting out and doing it and just repeating those behaviors and rewarding for the appropriate behavior. So another one is like, especially if you're in nursing homes or if you're in hospitals, that, you know, if there is you want them to make sure that they don't pick anything up off the floor. And I mean, dogs are really, I mean, that's one of the things is, again, being food driven, she loves, you know, if there's food, she's gonna try to find it. So that's one that is a little more difficult, is making sure that they keep their head up off the floor, because if it's a pill or if it's, you know, medication or something like that, that's gonna negatively interact with the dog. So that one is another one that, you know, when we're in those situations, I always keep her on the leash, so I can, you know, give a little tug or just a verbal reminder of, you know, to leave it. So, go ahead.
Does she react at all to like the school bells or like loud fire alarms?
So the fire alarms, I mean, because those are extremely loud. I can only imagine what those go like on. She is not really, I mean, she doesn't get skittish, she doesn't react. I mean, she knows when the bell rings, though, that she knows the kids are going in the hallway. I mean, it's almost like Pavlov, right? I mean, she knows that bell rings, and she's going to know that she hits the hallway, and that's her time to, you know, for 5 minutes to stand there while the kids.
So she also run to the.
She'll go to the door.
To play with the kids.
Door to the office, and she'll you know. She'll get up and either look through the glass, or she'll get out, and I'm always, class change, I always try to be out in the hallway, you know, with the students, and she's right there.
Is she ever like get lost in the building? You don't know where is she?
There's been a couple times that if I go down to, so I don't take her when I go down to like the cafeteria for cafeteria duty or whatever, when I'm down there with the kids during their lunch, I never take her because of the food situation, and again, she'll put her nose up, just like to do with the cookies. So there's times when some other people go in the office and they don't pay attention, and I get, it's probably happened in the last 3.5 years. It's probably happened 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
So your dog was running all over the school looking for you, and somebody will just corral her back and put her back in the office, or we've got a couple teachers. One teacher we went to Mexico a couple years ago, and one of the teachers actually there watched the dog, and so she knows that teacher very well. So she'll go with her. She also has treats, so which makes it.
She's on campus trying to find you.
Yeah.
So anything else you want us to know about the
No,
therapy dog?
not that I can think of. Like I said, it's just. I mean, I think she really does provide a nice service to our kids and our students, and I can't tell you even how many parents, because she has her school picture taken every year.
Oh.
She's in the yearbook.
Oh.
Because she sits nice and she holds her pose for the yearbook.
Yeah.
And I put a newsletter out every week, and she's on the bottom of our contact list of the office staff. And just.
If you need help.
Yeah,
my
that's
number.
right. That's right. And I get so many parents that come in for the first time, and yesterday at our conference time for junior high students, and they're like, oh, I finally get to meet Maya. I've seen Maya on here. I've seen this and this Maya.
Yeah.
And, people who've never seen her before.
Yeah.
So she really does, I think, a pretty good public service to our district as well. So
She may be more popular than you.
oh, there's no doubt about it. The kids want to see her more than they do me. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
So.